Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day, another week, another episode of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking, well, we're going to have a lot of videos we're going to be watching. Suicide Squad just released their impression videos across the board, so we're going to watch like 4 different videos from 4 different perspectives of the Suicide Squads, and I'll give you my thoughts and reactions to what we're seeing and give you, like I said, my thoughts. We're also going to watch we watched a video yesterday of Asmongold reacting to Nuon, I think it was, about Quinfall, and showing you how that game is probably not even a game. Well, the person did a follow-up video and showed even more evidence how this game is probably not a real actual game, and more in-depth with that as well. So we're going to watch that as well. And then we also have a couple stories of Hogwarts Legacy, how many it sold, and what games may be potentially coming to PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch. So that's what's on today's show. If you like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We're live here 10 o'clock to about noon. We go over sometimes, most of the time actually. But we cover news stories. If you like it, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. All right. So let's get started. I want to start with the Suicide Squad information here. Okay. So I think I want to watch on all the videos that we're watching and all the articles that we're going to be going over will be in the description down below. It's most of the videos right now. I haven't put I didn't know if I was going to go over the articles. So we're just going to be looking at the actual videos. YouTube Lurker gifted 10 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Lurker. Appreciate that. What's going on, Travis? What's going on, Jesse? Wonder Rose, Dave Rose, Eclipse, Big Mo.
Thanks for becoming a member.
Horseman, what's going on? Behemoth. All the gifted memberships coming in. Lurker, again, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support. All right. We're going to wait for those to go through. Neutralizer.
Thanks for becoming a member.
Can I? Thanks for becoming a member.
Thanks for becoming a member.
IGN did not give a favorable review. Well, we're going to watch it. I didn't watch it yet. So I'll give you my initial thoughts as we go through.
Thanks for becoming a member.
All right. Here we go. It's Comedy Gold. All right, here we go.
Hardly, no.
Worth it.
The best part of Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice.
I don't know why I'm not hearing.
Thanks for becoming a member.
I wasn't hearing anything for a second. Give me 1 second. I was like, why am I not hearing anything?
League.
All right.
Thanks for becoming a member.
That.
No. Hardly, no.
Worth it.
The best part of Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, after playing it for a few hours, is the story. And yes, it certainly seems like you will be killing characters you know and love.
Wait.
Hey.
Lurker was so generous with the 10 gifted memberships. It's still popping up on screen. Harold, I'm gonna shut those off. I appreciate it, Lurker. I appreciate it. I think that is gonna stop it from coming in with the audio. We'll start again from the start. Comedy Gold. Eclipse says Caboose liked it, so I'll give it because he enjoyed Gotham and Avengers for what it is. Developer Direct next Thursday, December 18th. All right, sweet. All right, here we go.
Hardly, no.
Worth it.
The best part of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League after playing it for a few hours is the story, and yes, it certainly seems like you will be killing characters you know and love.
Hey, you
The very first thing he said, you're going to be killing people you adore and love. It says it in the title. It says it in the title.
He's always looking
Is this Destin? Destin did this?
so... What?
Lots of death happening here. That's also a big part of the problem I have with the entire premise.
You have a problem with the premise? Well then, right off the bat, I can see you're not very open-minded, because the premise of it is kill the Justice League. Regardless if you actually kill the Justice League, it's in the title. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. You know me, I'm actually really excited because of the premise, right? Because it's not the same old cookie cutter, we're the good guys, go get the bad guys, we're the bad guys, okay? Killing the good guys, or defeating the good guys.
I can't help but shake that there's no way Rocksteady is going to let any of this stick. Our heroes have done terrible things. There will be a time reversal mechanic or some alternate Earth timeline that comes along and washes away all of the terrible awfulness that happens during the story.
Okay. So he's saying he doesn't like it because it's a downer, and he thinks that they're going to reverse it. And that might be the case. There might be a case where, sort of like EA when they did Battlefront 2, and they had the story where we're the bad guys, we're like the Imperial or the Empire, and then all of a sudden she switches to the good side. Sure. But that's the whole... Isn't that a cool premise? The cool premise is humanity is at the brink, and the only people they can depend on is the people that were against humanity. Right? That's a cool premise. I mean, I don't know what you... I don't know what you want.
From enslaving a child form of poison ivy to straight up watching your heroes murder people, there's a lot here to make you feel a bit uncomfortable about the journey you're being taken on.
Daphne's hungry.
I did it, okay? I put the bloody bomb in her head ages ago.
What?
And when you pair this disconnect with game mechanics straight out of the likes of Destiny, Anthem, or Marvel's Avengers...
I disagree. This game, and I've said it before, and I'll stick with it, this game is more Borderlands than any of the other games. But that's just me.
I'm left worried about the final product coming together in a way that works. The fun just wasn't there for me. At least, not yet. Let me explain in more detail. The story has its fun moments, yes, and the team banter, at least during the cutscenes, is when Kill the Justice League is at its best.
Awesome.
Aw, he's so sweet. He's not gonna make it.
The cutscenes have clearly been given a lot of love. Meanwhile, the character models look great, the voice acting is on point, and there are a lot of moments where I genuinely laugh thinking this could be enough to carry me through the messy and tired open world missions. While they could reverse time to fix the morality issues at play, chances...
But why do they have to fix the morality issues? Why do they have to fix the morality issues? That sounds like a personal problem.
Are that will be difficult given the planned expansions, story additions, and gear chases coming later in the form of free updates. That means we'll be stuck with the terrible things that transpire, and if the name sticks, stuck with a dead Justice League. At one point, the team puts a bomb in the head of Poison Ivy, who just happens to be a child. But hey, they punch Boomerang for putting a...
It's a fucking character in a fictitious world. And yes, she's a child, and yeah, okay, she has a bomb in her head. It's a comic book story.
Bomb in her head? So let's move on from that whole enslaving a child thing.
The fact that enslaving a child, man.
I get it's Poison Ivy, and this is kind of Waller.
Do you get it? Do you? Do you get Amanda Waller? Do you understand Suicide Squad? Do you?
Thing, but I'm using it to illustrate a point. All of these things in one package feels like an odd mix. Rocksteady had a winning formula with the Batman games and is trying to write a completely new book, but so far, lightning is not in this bottle. A live service game from Rocksteady is not what I had on my wish list this year.
Now see, it shows. It shows what you actually wanted. Your expectations for this game didn't hit what you wanted. Well, you didn't make the game. All of us did not make this game. Rocksteady made the game that they wanted to make, right? Your expectations for the game should be based on what they're showing you, not what you wanted or thought, what you thought it was going to be.
The team is single-handedly responsible for making some of the best combat I have ever experienced.
What did you compare this game to when it came out? Right? Let's take it from the other perspective. What about if Batman came out and the combat was terrible? I know it wasn't, but what about if it was terrible? Then what would you have said? What would you have compared it to? Well, they could have done it like this. They created Batman Arkham and the fighting style that it was, and it became a wonderful game that other people look towards to make, hence Spider-Man's combat feels like Batman.
The Predator sections in the Arkham series also allowed you to tackle them with stealth or brute force, adding further flavor and variety to Bruce Wayne's vigilantism. To this day, in fact, you can find ridiculous...
Why is this part of this critique of Suicide Squad?
Takedown montages on YouTube and TikTok for Batman Arkham Knight. Unfortunately for Suicide Squad, once the fun story bits end, you're left with a much less inspired combat system, and an open world that's filled with tedious tasks that are more about grinding through traditional tropes like point defense or collect the material.
Well, that's the live service aspect of it, right? That's the live aspect of it. You do it in Destiny, you do it in Division, you did it in Anthem, you did it in all these things. The open world live service aspect games, that's what you do, right? I don't like it, but that's what you do. Hence why I said I'm playing for story.
And turn it in. There are shining moments with the combat, such as the powerful feeling of takedowns, and there does seem to be some depth to the build variety, but you'll do it surrounded by teammates who won't shut up with their quips, which quickly becomes annoying.
Feels good to be an...
Does he not know Suicide Squad? he just doesn't like the game, which is fine. But I don't understand. I don't understand why you're... whatever.
I might look chill, but that's just my UX design.
Sometimes it's to the point that you'll get 2 to 3 lines of dialogue overlapping while you're just
Now, the overlapping lines, I understand. That's bad.
waiting for your crew at a checkpoint. And when the combat does start, it has its fun moments, but it also has weird issues like long animations to regen your shield, or you'll get knocked out of an animation for unclear reasons. I thought it was just me, but it also happens in this provided footage straight from WB. While we have this provided boss fight footage against the Flash to reference, I just want to mention that I found this fight incredibly annoying.
That's because you're a bad gamer. I remember you complaining about fights and stuff in Destiny until you understood them, and then you stopped complaining.
There's no indication of where the Flash is most times, and he's the Scarlet Speedster, so he's just constantly zipping around the map. That didn't make the fight hard, it just made it frustrating.
He's Flash. Okay, let me put myself in this perspective. I'm playing a game for an event. Okay, I get to play a boss fight. The first time I played any boss fight, if it was Elden Ring, if it was Batman, if it was Teenage Mutant Turtles, if it was whatever. It's a boss fight. Your first boss fight that you play, you don't understand the mechanics. You don't understand mechanics. But when you start playing the game and you start figuring it out, I know this is hard, figuring it out, then it becomes easier. It's going to become so easy once you start doing this boss, because in this type of game, you're going to do this boss fight multiple times with different characters. You're going to have different gear. You're going to do it easier, okay, because you have certain guns and whatnot, okay? So this is why you have weapons, because if you didn't have guns, it would be really hard to fight against the powers of the Justice League, okay? Unless you're King Shark, who hacks, he's a demigod, okay? But they have to have weapons to go up against them, and especially since they're being controlled by Brainiac. But the problem here is skill of if you're frustrated. He says it wasn't hard, it was just frustrating because we didn't know.
You get a handful of shots on him before he teleports to the next location.
Okay.
So you're just trying to chase him down or catch him standing in one spot long enough to get hits in
Okay.
before he does it all again. I do wish there was a bit of a he's down, get him moment, but unfortunately it seems like that trope wasn't used here. Now,
Here's the hindsight 2020, right? If he did go down, okay, I can hear him saying, well, this boss fight was a little too easy. He just kind of sat there, and where we like just piled on him and get him.
WB also sent over some footage of an experienced Shark player wrecking shop, so I'll include some footage of their gameplay in this video preview to show what it looks like when someone has played for hundreds of hours versus a couple of hours at a preview event.
This guy is playing right now, footage provided by PR. So this is a person that played the game for hundreds of hours. I want to see the difference. I mean, this looks pretty fucking good. This looks fun. Now, I would like you to picture this, right? I would like you to picture this. Remember the Batman videos he was talking about? How there's still videos on YouTube and how people would do the insane combos and whatnot with Batman? That wasn't people that were just starting to play Batman. That's people that have been playing Batman for hundreds of hours. Now, I want you, I'm going to rewind here for a second. I want you to look back now on the combos and everything that this guy that played 100 hours and what it looks like.
Preview event. In the open.
Now, he went from one to the other. And yes, I understand it's not the punchy like it was Batman. But Rockstar wanted to make that game, and now they wanted to make this game. And that looked pretty good, especially once we don't know what his skill level is. We don't know what he's got on him and what he can do, how much damage he's doing.
In world, however, missions tend to favor many.
No, actually, Destin's a good gamer. He's really good at Destiny. Did you hear what I said, Rose? I said he complained in the start when he did boss fights in Destiny. I know Destin. I watched all his stuff. I've met Destin. I've talked to Destin. Okay. He literally complained that certain boss fights and whatnot were bad. And then later when he figured it out was like, oh, they're actually pretty good.
Many of the tired and true types, which makes them feel a bit like uninspired filler. Like, stop me if you've heard this one before, you defend a point from waves of enemies that spawn. Sound familiar? Now imagine every time you defeat a handful of these enemies, you just stand around waiting with nothing to do. This was exactly.
This sounds just like another live service game where you defend points, stand around, and wait for thing. This happens in the best games of Destiny and Division and Borderlands and Warframe and all the other games that do the exact same thing.
What happened during one of the core story missions, and the padding feels completely unnecessary. When the next quest started, I stood there while Amanda Waller called my character on comms and bantered with Poison Ivy before sending me back to the other end of the map to save citizens in a flying bus that looked like it's straight out of Fortnite.
Okay, the bus does look like it's out of Fortnite.
At least the Riddler puzzles are making a return from the Arkham games, bringing at least one familiar fun activity to Suicide Squad's Metropolis.
Within this city's fiscal stash, Lex Luthor sits upon your cash.
At least I hope they're fun, because I didn't actually get to solve any of them. The potential saving grace for all my gripes could be that the whole combat system comes together a lot better when you get to sit down and actually make a build, which
Of course it will. Of course it will. When you first play a game, you're not going to be doing the devastating damage and combos and stuff that you have and whatnot. Right? Now, obviously, if you don't want to put that time in, you're not going to hit that point, right? We saw this when I played Marvel's Avengers. People are like, Hulk is shit. Hulk is not a good character. Meanwhile, you guys tuned into me, and I was destroying everybody until everyone else was like, damn, I played a little bit more hours, and Hulk was actually devastating. No shit.
Which we didn't have a chance to do right away at the preview event. For some context, we started playing through the same tutorial from the beta and picking a character, Deadshot in my case. After that, we jumped straight into Chapter 3 where I tried out Shark because the character...
Can I just say, is this his footage? Is this his footage?
In my case. After
look, if this is his footage, whoever's playing right now...
the same tutorial from the beta...
Look at this gunplay.
And picking a character.
Look where he was shooting right there. What are you shooting at? Right? What are you shooting at?
Deadshot.
And then what are you shooting at over here?
My case.
And then you finally made it.
After that, we jumped straight into
Oh yeah, great gamer.
Chapter 3 where I tried out Shark because the character I had been playing on was taken. What I didn't realize was that Chapter 3 gives you complete build control, and having played on a different class, it took me a bit of our session to get warmed up to the new movement mechanics Shark has compared to Deadshot. If we look back at that provided Flash gameplay, it looks like the player has a good grasp at movement, but it all comes back to similar core mechanics. Aim gun, shoot gun, and those core mechanics in a game like Destiny really save it. Here, it just feels samey across the board, even with each character's abilities sprinkled in. I didn't really get time to look at my gear stats and throw something together to try out, but I did try a build recommendation from Jack Hackett, production manager at Rocksteady, but again, I didn't really have enough time to get used to how it's supposed to.
You're complaining about something, but then you're also saying I didn't have time to get used to it, because of course they only played for like 2 hours to 3 hours, right? That's a drop in the bucket. You're not going to get used to the character in 2 to 3 hours, especially if you're trying a bunch of different things and doing other stuff.
To flow together. However, his excitement about the build possibilities does continue to give me a glimmer of hope. To give you a taste of what you'll be looking at in terms of complexity, there are weapon affliction.
This affliction freezes enemies in a rusting cellular. Freezes enemies for 10 seconds. Enemies take 200% damage in firearms. Frozen enemies take 1,000% damage from falling. Enemies take greatly reduced damage from melee. Nullifies critical hit, chances of frozen enemies, and nullifies the ammo drop chance of frozen enemies.
That attach an elemental effect to weapons like Deep Freeze that does cold damage for a period of time. Penguin will let you craft new weapons, shield mods, traversal mods, or grenades. And there are some interesting guns here, like...
This is 100% Borderlands-esque stuff. I've been saying this for months, maybe even a year now.
Bugs a-poppin' that will not do damage to a Terminant, but will slow down every enemy within 10 meters. And there was this one slot machine.
I mean, look at the slot machine grenade.
That was also pretty fun. Each character also has a
You got the skill tree is just like Borderlands as well.
Skill tree that can upgrade, and all of that is on top of weapons and mods that work together to give you passive buffs when you pair, say, 2 gizmo gear pieces together to do more burning damage, but with the trade-off that grenades do 50% less damage, but have a 100% chance to burn all enemies. I know I've been really hard on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice.
You're fine.
League in this preview, and believe me, I really want to be wrong about it. Not only is Rocksteady one of my favorite developers, but this genre is one I've spent far too much time in across Destiny, Anthem, and yes, even Marvel's Avengers. But while there is a story here that makes...
Don't claim Marvel's Avengers. You didn't put that much time into Marvel's Avengers.
Me wonder where the heck it's all going, I left the preview even less optimistic than when I came in. Here's hoping Suicide Squad wins me back when it releases on February 2nd. Are you excited about Suicide Squad?
All right, so that's one video. You can find the IGN one down below. The next one we're going to watch is Lejeune. I watched very little in the very beginning. He talks about being thankful for going there and stuff. So we're going to fast forward just a little bit to the story section of here.
From what we got to play. So let's get into that first. Now, I do want to apologize that I will be looking at my phone here and there because I wrote every single thing down, every detail that I got.
Those of you that don't know Lejeune,
there, so
Lejeune came up as a a YouTuber making build videos and whatnot with Marvel's Avengers. So this is his first time ever going. He's a much bigger streamer than me, but a smaller streamer compared to everybody else that got invited to the event. So this was his first outing to one of these things.
When I record this video, I don't miss a single detail. So let's get into it. So for the first thing is that the build that we got to play on was a month old. So everything that we got to experience in this one was not going to be in the final build. Of course, it happens as game development. But I do have to say, from what we played, it ran pretty smooth. I didn't run into no frame drops. Of course, ran into like little glitches, but of course, it's an old build, so it's going to happen. And they did state that the things that we got to experience was already fixed. So it's not a big deal if we're going to be perfectly.
Now, I'm going to keep an open mind because these people, his first time there, he's probably excited, right? He's a young kid. So I'm going to keep his stuff pretty open-minded because he's probably super excited, right? These people got invited to this thing. So you have Destin where he's cynical because he's older, right? And then you have the young bloods here that are going to be super excited and probably everything is just, rainbows and unicorns.
Honest, but I do have to say we did play the intro. We played a little bit of chapter 1, and then we got skipped all the way to chapter 3. So we were put in the beginning of chapter 3 where we actually got to.
Destin is older. Destin's in his mid-30s, maybe even late 30s.
Meet spoiler. I'm just putting a spoiler right here. We already seen it in the Insider episode 2, but we got to see Poison Ivy, or Ivy, I guess you could say the reincarnation of Poison Ivy. But I do have to say the cinematics and the delivery from the voice actors for the Suicide Squad are very, very on point.
So far we've had two people. Destin said that the story is good. He said the voice acting is spot on. He said the exact same thing.
I actually caught myself laughing a few times with some of the dialogue between King Shark, Harley Quinn, Deadshot, and Captain Boomerang. They are actually funny, and some of the jokes really hit. I was playing with a few content creators, shout out to Comic Storian and Dane Falcon. There were some times we actually were really laughing at some of the things that they were saying because it actually hit, and it was pretty funny, and it really did what it had to do. Now, at a certain moment in chapter 3 where we actually had to find Lex, and Lex set up a trap for the Justice League. And of course, with the Suicide Squad being on site, they actually fell into the trap where they were frozen in place, and they all got trapped except Harley. And Harley being the crazy one in the
Absolutely, Dave. This is why we watch multiple videos.
Group. She was actually looking at Deadshot, and Deadshot told her, "Do not touch me. We will all be trapped if you touch me." And know how crazy Harley Quinn is? She actually goes on to touch Deadshot and literally gets them all trapped. It is super funny. Like, look at this scene right here.
So this is the same thing they were just showed. Destin showed it at the very tail end.
Yet again, your feeble upper body strength betrays you, Boomerang.
Shark, hold up. It's a...
I mean,
Harley,
it's the humor.
Get us out of this. Harley, do not touch us.
But you saying I can't really makes me want to, you know?
He's gonna touch his ass.
Harley, no!
Worth it.
I expect...
Do you think we get to play as Lex? I think we might be able to play him down the road.
Expected that to catch one of you at most.
Lex, we've been known to exceed expectations.
Surrender, Luther. We have you outnumbered and outgunned.
My. I could use an army of you.
He's pretty underwhelming when you get to know him.
Seems you all have that in common. Tell Waller to stay out of my way. If you'll excuse me, my plan to neutralize the Justice League starts now.
His peripheral vision with those shoulder pads are horrific. You can't see. It's like wearing a hood. You know what I mean?
I'm going to enjoy this.
Now, you see what I mean? Harley is pretty crazy. And just overall, that cutscene, it really
Crazy or dumb? Maybe she's crazy dumb.
match the energy of what the Suicide Squad actually is. It just matches their humor. But I do have to say, from the story so far, what I got to experience with chapter 1 and chapter 3, it seemed like it's going to be a fun ride. It's going to have those moments where it's actually get emotional, sad, funny, and just upbeat. So I'm pretty excited to see what they do when it comes to the story overall, when it comes to the game. Now, since that is over, let's get on to the gameplay section. All right, so let's get on to the gameplay segment. Now, when it comes to gameplay, this is something I'm very critical on, because when it comes to gameplay, that is the most important thing. It will keep people playing and also coming back for the new characters that they will be releasing. So let's talk about it. When it comes to the gameplay, what I got to play with Suicide Squad at the event, it was very smooth. I have to give them that. The gunplay and using the characters' abilities, it all ran smoothly, to be honest. I really had to give them that. Now, I did play co-op with Comic Storian and Dame Falcon. I will have their channel links on the screen, but Comic Storian was playing as Captain Boomerang and Dame was playing as Harley Quinn. And we had a developer, I really wish I would have got his name, but he was playing as Deadshot. But if you guys want to check out the perspectives of Captain Boomerang and Harley Quinn, check out the channel links below for Comic Storian and Dame Falcon. But so far, I have to say the gameplay was very smooth. Now, of course, with me, I was playing as King Shark. That's going to be my main.
I want you to take a note real fast. Do you see Lejeune playing and how his aim is directly on the guys? He's not shooting the ground.
So mainly what I'm going to be talking about is King Shark and what I got to experience with him so far. Now, I do have to say his traversal is very, very good. Just from the base level of his traversal, it is really good already. And the thing is, you can already travel far distance.
Yeah, his traversal looks good compared to other ones.
This is with his apex pounce and his jump that he could
reminds me of Hulk in Marvel's Avengers, the way he's jumping.
Do, but you could upgrade it and you could travel even further and jump even higher with it, which makes it
the way he just jumped there. I wish Hulk could jump like that in Marvel's Avengers.
Even more crazier, which is insane to think about, because traversal is probably like the main thing that they have really focused on, trying to drive that point that traversal will be a big part of this game, which it really is. So that is something that they really mastered when it comes to these characters. I have to give them that, no lie. Now, when it comes to his two abilities, he has his Suicide Strike, which is a powerful single target attack that does a lot.
And mind you, if you're going to be a Suicide Squad player and you want someone to give you some build guides and whatnot, okay, this kid's going to give it to you, okay? He know life Marvel's Avengers like myself, and he did a lot of good build videos.
A lot of damage. It has some cool animations along with it, and he also has his Atlantean drop, which is basically
that's for the Riddler quests, Rose.
Like a dive bomb, which if the enemies that are caught in the area, they will get hit really hard and probably bounce up into the sky. You guys will see the gameplay when it comes down to the Suicide Strike and the Atlantean drop, but those are some very good abilities for King Shark. Now, when it comes to King Shark's skill tree, it seems like he's more offensive / defensive when it comes to how he plays, because in his skill tree, when it comes to the defense, he basically has it where he puts an aura around himself where enemies does less damage to him, and they also take more damage from you and your allies. And it's pretty cool. And he has another one when it comes to his offensive tree, where he basically does more damage with his Atlantean drop, and you can also get it back super fast. Like, I do a grenade at like 4 enemies and I got my Atlantean drop back instantly. Like it's crazy how fast I got my abilities back when it comes to King Shark using his stuff. So it seemed like he's going to be more of the ability based type character, which is understandable, because let's be real, he is the most magic like character in the Suicide Squad when it comes to how he operates, since he is from Atlantis. So it's totally understandable that it is like that when it comes to him. Now, speaking about him being ability based, when it comes to his perks, it seems like they really mix well when it comes to his abilities, because they have one where once he does his Atlantean drop, basically all the enemies that don't die from it become shield harvest. And we already know when it comes to shield harvest, you can over extembolate your shield, basically giving you an over shield, so you can take way more damage.
I also want to make it clear that Destin's review was more of a critique and this one is giving you information about the actual what he played. You see the difference? Right? The other one was like a review of his play, and this is a thought out, this is the good, this is the bad, this is what I got from when I played this character.
And just stay in the battlefield, you can do that and just keep overcharging your shield so you can just stay in the fight, being that tank of the group. So it is pretty cool the way they got it mixed. And there's another one when it comes to his melee, where if you defeat a shield harvest enemy, depending on what percentage health they are, the enemies around them take a certain amount of damage from that shield harvest attack that you did. So it is pretty nice. So say for instance, like you do a 10k shield harvest attack, all the enemies around will take 5k damage, something like that. That's a good example of how that works. And you see how they mix together. Once you do that lantern drop, you got enemy shield harvest, and if they're low enough, they're going to take that extra damage from the melee.
He's a numbers guy, right? He's a numbers guy. He knows. I'm telling you, you want a good build videos for your characters when they come out. Watch Legion.
You doing a shield harvest attack. So it's nice the mixture between when it comes to his abilities and how they work well with the perks. And while we're speaking about perks, there is this certain grenade which is very special. It's called a bang grenade. Now this does 500% more damage and increase the radius of it by 100%. And
100%. Limited one carry, one grenade at a time, but each grenade does 500% damage and has 100% bigger explosion radius.
The only thing about it, which makes it so special, you can only hold one grenade of this. You can only hold one because it's super powerful. Now, there's a perk on a gun. Now, I don't know if it's tied to only assault rifles or SMGs, but I know specifically on the assault rifle I had, where if you get a critical hit, or I think as you get headshots, you will spawn a live grenade under an enemy. And the thing is, that grenade that you spawn that will be under enemy will be the bang grenade. So
you see what he played a couple of hours, and the stuff that he on him, he already figured out. He's like, if I have this grenade with this gun, so it's possible that in the game you have a gun that when you get a critical hit, it drops a grenade underneath, which does a super massive explosion. Come on, Jones.
They mix together when it comes to those two perks. So you could easily just keep spawning a grenade that does 500% more damage and 100% more area radius just from getting critical hits on enemies, which is super OP when you think about it. And the thing is, the developer told
hopefully they don't nerf it.
Told me a little secret. He stated that there is another tier above that makes the damage of the bang grenade go even higher and increase the radius even further. So
oh well, then it looks like they're not going to nerf it. It looks like they're doubling down on it.
I ain't gonna lie, they are cooking when it comes to that. So if they already have it where the weapon perks can tie along with the grenade, and where your abilities can tie into your perks with that, and also tie in with your melee, if they already got that mixture well already, then honestly, when it comes to build crafting in this game, it's going to be something special, to be honest. So they are really cooking when it comes to this. So that's pretty much everything so far when it comes to the gameplay segment that I have to talk about. The next thing I will be talking about is the new features that will be coming along with Suicide Squad that probably nobody knows about until now. Let's get into it. All right, so when it comes to the new features that will be coming along in Suicide Squad that is already in the game, now we have flying cars. Now I really wish they could have got our reaction to seeing this for the.
So did they do this before the last? That means they got flown out before the last developer update, right? Because they showed us the cars in the last one.
First time, because it was so random. Like the developer, they knew what they was doing. They told us to go to this random side mission, and once we got to it, we was like, you know, like what's going on? Then all of a sudden we saw cars just spawning out of nowhere and we could fly. We was like, whoa, that is crazy. Because like when you look at Suicide Squad, you don't actually like look at it and see like, oh, they can fly vehicles. You don't think of that. Like, it's crazy the fact that they did that, and it's going to open up some brand new opportunities when it comes to us seeing different type of vehicles we can actually fly around.
Here's a game where Starfield doesn't have vehicles. People bitch they want vehicles. Now there's vehicles in the game, and probably people will bitch that they're like, I don't really want this vehicle. I guarantee that's going to happen.
If they have it where we can fly around in a Batmobile, that would be crazy. That would be actually crazy. Low key, I would like to see that, to be honest. but they do have it in a vehicle where you can actually get your teammate to get along with you and get into the turret, so you both could be just firing at enemies doing what you do. But the thing is, the vehicles can explode, so you can either let it explode and destroy itself, or you can sit there flying at enemies and, you know, just do the explosion and just, you know, hit the enemies to get them out the way. So there's two different ways you could do that, and I have to say the flying vehicles do.
Yeah, it's like Crackdown. That's good. That's Horseman. Yeah, like Crackdown meets Borderlands. It's definitely a Borderlands feel, third-person Borderlands. That's the way I feel. The menu systems, the way the gunplay is, the characters, the perks on the weapons and the guns.
Feel smooth, so they really did their thing when it comes to that. So for the next thing we do have, is pretty big. This is pretty big when it comes to the grinders and people that don't have enough time to grind. They have it set up where if your friend is playing Suicide Squad and you're not online and you can't play for right now, they can actually pull your character in with them, do any type of activities or missions that give them rewards and gear and all that. And once you log back in, all the
Hold up. Did he just say that I can bring a character in? Like, I'm playing with Travis. Travis can't play, but I decide to invite Travis's character into the game. And now I'm doing a mission with Travis's character. And then when Travis gets back on, he gets the rewards based on what I was playing solo with AI Travis inside the game. That's interesting. Let me rewind that for a second. Let me rewind that for a second.
And people that don't have enough time to grind, they have it set up where if your friend is playing Suicide Squad and you're not online and you can't play for right now, they can actually pull your character in with them, do any type of activities or missions that give them rewards and gear and all that. And once you log back in, all the gear and rewards that your character did, while they were playing with your friend, while you wasn't playing, they will have the rewards sitting in your inventory. So you could basically have it set up where your friend can just play all night, all day long.
All right, chat. Anytime you play the game, you better bring my character. No, I can't.
And all the gear that they get for your character, and once you log in, you will have all of that. And you never know. You could possibly end up getting a god roll weapon, a god roll, gear piece or something like that.
I'll be honest with you. I prefer that than just the AI, right? Because if I'm bringing, but here's the question I have. If I don't bring Travis's, let's say, King Shark in, and I choose to have my own King Shark, if weapons drop, does King Shark, when I go play King Shark, does he have weapons drop for him for my own character? So am I choosing my AI over someone else's AI? Or, do you know what I mean? Yeah, I know I'm playing the game, but are different weapons for different characters? Or are all weapons and all things for the same, like, it drops for you, it drops for everyone in your group type of thing? Or is it specific, like this SMG, if King Shark uses it, it's going to be better than if Boomerang uses it?
That will fit your build specifically for you and well for you as well. So I like the fact that they did that, because to be honest, I know there's some people that don't have enough time to play games here and there. And the fact that your friends can pull your character in and get rewards for you while you're not playing, that is such a...
It's interesting. I want to know how it's implemented, though.
A good feature. I have to give them that. That is really good. And another thing as well, there will be an after mission.
I feel like if you're just getting the rewards, are you getting level ups, or are you just getting the rewards? Right? If you're just getting the rewards, cool. But I don't want my character leveling up when I'm not playing. That's just me, though. I know other people would like their character to level up because they don't even actually want to play the game.
In summary, so you can see who was doing the most objectives, who was doing the most damage, who was getting the most kills and all that good stuff. So it could create some competition between you and your friends and all that good stuff. So it is nice. I like
this. Could be good.
They added that because
the competition between friends. But if you play matchmaking with people, this could get real toxic real fast. right? Remember other games? They're like, well, we don't want to show you what you did because someone's feelings are going to get hurt because they're not doing enough damage. Well, what about if you look at it as, well, this person's not doing enough damage. Maybe they can figure out why and get a better character. I don't know. That's just the way I look at it.
Because you could just really, you know, get that competitive side with your friends and just mess around and joke around.
I mean, look at the difference in Lejeune did 11,000. I don't know what mission they just did. He did 11,362 damage, and everybody else that was playing with him, which are not bots because they were all at the play event, the most was 2,935. Talking about putting you on your back and going through.
You could just really, you know, get that competitive side with your friends and just mess around and joke around and stuff like that. Now, I can say it could possibly get toxic if you're playing with people online and they like super sweaty.
Of course,
and just want to, you know, bloat.
It's a good feature. I like it.
Again, it really depends on how you really go.
If you don't like the score, then don't look at it. Hit skip
about it, because if you're playing with your friends and you know you see your friend got something hard, then they go joke around, and you know how it goes. If you play games like this, they have at their mission summary, so that's another thing to have in the game as well. Now, another thing we do have is another tier above legendary, which is called Notorious, which is villain themed weapons and gear. Now, these are themed after some of the villains that we got to see.
Now I did say way back in the Time Machine when they first showed that first trailer and they showed the case with all the stuff, and I said, what about if you get weapons that are themed off of the characters and you get to use like special abilities? And that's what this sounds like. Notorious weapons.
See, now the ones I know so far.
Notorious weapons and items are now available. Swipe the personal property of these powerful villains to unleash unique effects and you won't find anywhere else. So there's legendary, and then there's the drop of Notorious. That's interesting.
That we actually got to see while we were playing. We saw Black Mask, we saw Bizarro, Two-Face, General Zod, Lex, and the Penguin.
All right, hold up. I want
that we actually got to see while we were playing. We saw Black Mask, we saw Bizarro, Two-Face, General Zod, Lex, and the Penguin. Now, the one you're seeing on screen right now is the Black Mask villain set. Now, this basically states that each enemy you hit with this firearm receives the Black Mask mark.
Black Mask's Bullet Storm.
Applying a Black Mask mark to 3 different enemies with
each enemy hit with the firearm receives a Black Mask mark. Applying a Black Mask mark
in 6 seconds causes all marked enemies to trigger a fire explosion that burns nearby enemies. So let's say, for instance, you apply the Black Mask mark to 3 enemies, and that one enemy is around like a group of 5 enemies. Those 5 enemies will get hit with the burn status, and they will take damage and have that burn status on them. Now, I remember in the Insider episode 2 for they said for King Shark, if once you apply the burn status on enemies, you will get like a little buff that will make you vulnerable to damage for a certain amount of seconds. I can't remember specifically, but I know they said it in there. Once you apply the burn status, you will get a shield that basically makes you invulnerable for a certain amount of time. So this will mix super well into that for King Shark.
I wonder if these only drop from the boss fights. And how will the boss fights be? Like, if I beat Flash the first time, can I go back and fight Flash again just to get drops like Borderlands? Or can I not do it until I finish the game and then go back and do it? You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to know.
And this is what I've been stating. The way they have these perks and everything mixing together to create certain builds, the build crafting is going to be insane when it comes to this game. And I cannot wait to really see how everything goes down. But that's pretty much it when it comes to the features so far that we know that's coming to Suicide Squad. But yeah, that is pretty much it overall. All right, so for one negative I do have to talk about so far is probably the boss fight. That's probably going to be something that people don't like the most.
Okay. He's saying negative about the boss fight. Destin didn't like the boss fight with Flash. Let's see what he says.
Because overall, from the first boss fight we got to experience was the Flash. He is the first boss we fight. And the whole premise about it, all you really have to do is do the counter shot and make sure you hit the right Flash. And
now he's saying something completely different right there. Destin was like, I don't know where he is, and you got to hit the Flash. He's just said that you got to find the right Flash.
Once you get later into the boss fight, he starts to spawn after images of himself that start to do Speed Force Kamehamehas, and it'd be like 3 or 4 of them on the map, and you don't know which one is the right Flash, so you have to hit the counter shot on the right Flash.
You got to do a counter shot. It says, warning, your Speed Force protection is running out. Counter Flash to recharge.
To actually do damage to him, and then if you don't do the right Flash, you will get hit by the Speed Force Kamehamehas from the Flash. Then later on, he starts to spawn tornadoes around, and they just get super hectic because you got to watch out for the tornadoes because they do damage to you, and then you got to watch out for the Speed Force Kamehamehas because they do damage to you. Then there's another one where he does like a little Speed Force like little magnet thing that if you're in that area, you're going to get hit. It's just a lot going on. Now, I do have to say, we were dying. There was like one time where
not a problem. Not a problem if you die, because that means you learn and then you fix.
where I was the only one alive and I had to like revive people. And
you like what he just said there? I was the only one alive and I had to revive people. There's the difference between Lejeune and Destin.
Get to a certain checkpoint where they all can revive, because you only limited to 2 revives in a boss fight, it seems like. So I can say it will get super hectic if you're playing with friends, or if you're just playing by yourself. It can get hectic, but then again, once you like discover the whole premise of it and learn how everything goes down, then it gets super easy.
Isn't that amazing? Lejeune just said it. He says, yeah, it's a little hectic, but once you get used to it, it's going to become super easy.
I feel like that's probably going to be one of the things that people critique the most so far when it comes to it. So we really just got to see. And I did state that it is the first boss fight you actually get to do. So it's basically just going to test your abilities on how you can do when it comes to boss fight. And I'm already knowing when it comes to games like these, it's going.
I want to see the people who get past the first boss. It'd be like 5%.
Going to get hard.
They won't even get to the first boss. Water.
Harder and harder when it comes to fighting some of the other Justice League members, because with the new mechanics that's going to be introduced to that. So that's pretty much like my only negative so far when it comes to the game. Pretty much everything else is positives, if I'm going to be honest with you. But let's get on to my overall feelings of how I feel about Suicide Squad so far. All right, so for my overall impressions of how I feel about Suicide Squad and what I got to play at the event, I feel like it's a fun game, if I have to be honest. If I have to give this game an identity, think of it like Borderlands, a third-person Borderlands with DC characters attached.
And I take what Lejeune says, even being such a young kid, okay? He knows his shit, and he just said it's like Borderlands. Thank you, Lejeune. I appreciate it. That's exactly what I think what it is.
To it, just something like that. And that's not bad, because Borderlands, the game series itself, is not bad at all. It's a really good series, to be honest, to have like that little image over, because Borderlands is really good when it comes out to the gunplay, the perks, just overall the story. So I really feel like that's not a bad example, to be honest, to describe Suicide Squad. Now, I have to state, it is understandable that people have pretty much written the game off, because people are used to the Arkham games, which are single player and story driven, compared to this, which is a complete 180 with it being a shooter and with having live service elements to it, with being a live service game. So it is understandable that.
Here's what I love. Here's what I love. What he just said, he's like, I know people want the single player game, and this is a complete 180, right? Let's take Bethesda for a second. Oh, Bethesda keeps making the samey type of games. I don't like it. So Rocksteady goes completely something different, and people complain that it's not the same. You can't win. You can't win.
That people have written it off, but I do have to say the story so far, what I got to experience, it still has that Rocksteady title on it. It's just different compared to what you're used to. And I talked to the developers. They understand the complete 180 on how people feel about it. I really feel like people just...
I've already figured out the boss fight. Okay. Look at the circles. Look at the circles around. There's circle buildings everywhere. There's like 5 or 6 circle tops. Okay. And he keeps appearing on certain buildings and then does the spin, right? You see the center? There's another circle over there. There's another half circle / building over there that he goes on top of. So he goes on the ground as well. right?
The
But he
developers,
ends up
they understand
up on
that
top. So the
people
videos that we've
180
seen
on how
so
people feel
far,
about it, I really feel like
right? See, he's on top of that
people
building,
just gonna have to wait
runs
for
down to the
game
ground,
come
but then he
out.
jumps back up on top of the building over here to the right. So I'm assuming if you just scan on top of the buildings, you'll be pretty good to find the Flash.
To actually see what people think about it, because I really feel like this is going to surprise people, to be honest. But we really just have to wait for the game to come out fully to see what people think of it. But if I have to state it so far, I really feel like this game is fun and it's going to be underrated or probably surprise people, if I have to say so myself. But that's pretty much it for today's video. It's Lejeune here. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. All
right, go check out Lejeune's video. We have him also linked in the description down below, so go check out him. We got the next one, which is Caboose. We're going to watch Caboose. Now, these guys got flown out, and this is... So make sure you guys go to their... Like, I have them linked down below. Go to their channel. Give them a thumbs up. They made these videos. They got flown out there. They got the experience of this, right? We're just taking their content, having conversation about it, giving you feedback off of what they've played, and giving you my thoughts. So we're gonna do Caboose now. Let me bring it up to okay. Damn it, 30, you've ruined it now. We can't hear Destin while he's being unable to figure out the first friggin' boss. Hooray, the Caboose, someone who knows Destin is a piece of shit. And Mo says, if you get a call, would you go? I don't know. I actually had this conversation with Sarge the other day, right? I'm a small content creator, well, and I said the other day to Sarge before GXG, I said, you know, I'm kind of jealous. I said, I'm kind of jealous that I cover these games. No one really knows me, but people in that realm, like Marvel's Avengers and other games that we've played, they know of me. I do coverage. I'm very, you know, non-biased. I give a shot where it is, but I've never gotten a call or an email because I'm too small. But I actually said, if I get the call, I don't know if I would go, because if I go to one of these events, yeah, it opens up things for me. But even if I don't play ball, right, per se, where they told me what to say, it doesn't matter what happens. People are going to think that you're a shill. And I don't know if I want that, right? I would rather get it day one like I do, play the game, and give you my thoughts and stuff when I play the game. Just because if it's true or not, you're going to get labeled a shill.
Finally, for me to be able to give you my hands-on impressions with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. After a very, very long wait, almost 8 years since we had gotten our hands on Batman Arkham Knight, I finally got to try out the next installment in the Arkham franchise from Rocksteady. I do want to give a thank you to the kind folks at WB Games for flying me out to Los Angeles, for providing me travel and accommodation.
It 100% does, Travis. 100% does. Right? There's a lot of people that look at what Lejeune just did and what Caboose is doing and the other person that we're going to watch, and they're going to be like, oh, well, they're always going to say good things because they got flown out. That's just the way it is. A majority of the people think that way. You might not think that way, but the majority of the people think that way.
So that I can get my hands on early with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That will not alter how I feel about the game, however, contrary to what a lot of people online will say. Obviously, I'm very thankful for the opportunity, and that kind of stuff is amazing.
I mean, look, if it didn't, right? Caboose is already proving you wrong, Travis. If it didn't, in fact, this is why he's saying what he's saying right now, right? He's like, it's not going to affect it. Just because they flew me out, I'm still giving you my opinion, but it's still in the back of people's minds. Sure.
I also got to meet a ton of awesome creators in the space, some that I've known and some new ones that I've met for the first time. But regardless, I was going in with an open mind and I wanted to see how I genuinely felt about this game. I have some positives, I have some negatives. I want to get into all that here in this video. Let me start off by saying that I unfortunately didn't get a...
Is he loud enough for you guys? Is he loud enough for you guys? Yeah, okay.
hands-on with all 4 members of the squad during my time playing the game. I mainly played as Captain Boomerang, and that is the only character I have recorded footage with, but I also did briefly get to sneak in some time trying out King Shark. I unfortunately did not get to capture any footage with that character, but I can still talk about it. And okay, guys, don't hate me, all right? Or you know what? Hate me all you want. But the gameplay here is actually kind of fun.
You see, he keeps saying it. He does care about what people think about him. He says he doesn't, but he does. Right? Do you know, pitch higher? Okay, hold on one second.
Matter of fact, specifically when it comes to gameplay, I think Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is going to surprise a lot of people. I feel while there are so many diehard fans of the Arkham franchise, myself included, a lot of people seem to forget or didn't even know in the first place that Rocksteady's first ever game was an FPS, coupled with the third-person shooting mechanics that we actually have in Batman Arkham Knight with the Bat.
I didn't know that. I didn't know their first game was a first-person shooter. I never played it.
Mobile, and also the entire Joker sequence towards the end of the game, and I don't personally think that it's as insane of a departure from what Rocksteady is normally comfortable with as a development studio as some people make it seem. Granted, I get it, that's not inherently the issue that some people have with Suicide Squad, and I'm with the majority of the people online that I do wish we could have gotten even just a Justice League game instead of Suicide Squad, but if this is the game that we got, then this is the game that I'm going to be judging, and when it comes to gameplay, I liked what I played. At least I liked a lot of what I
Here we go again. Here we go again. Wishing for a game that you expected or you wish they had something else, right? Just play the game. They decided as an entity, the business was like, what do we make? And they probably went, what about a Superman game? What about another Batman game? What about a Flash game? What about a Wonder Woman game? What about, and they're like, what about if we do Suicide Squad? What about if we make Suicide Squad a shooter game? What about if we made Suicide Squad a shooter game where it's like Borderlands instead of doing a fighting game like we did before? Let's mix it up.
I played. I have some complaints. We'll get to that in a bit, though. The gunplay can be incredibly satisfying. There's this shield harvesting mechanic where you shoot an enemy in their legs to weaken them, and then you use your melee attack to take them out, harvesting their shield and gaining any health that you may have lost when you're in a fight. With Captain Boomerang, it's especially fun because you use his boomerang for his melee attack. Shocking, I know. He uses the boomerangs. And then there's also the counter shot mechanic, which Rocksteady has already explained in a past Suicide Squad Insider. Anytime you see that familiar counter system that you may recognize from the Arkham games, you need to shoot a special shot at the enemy to stun them. When you have several Brainiac minions on screen and you're chaining shield harvests, counter shots, and your special moves, jumping and zipping around with your traversal mechanics, using your boomerangs or just your melee attacks in general as Captain Boomerang, tossing grenades, oh man, it can be...
The gameplay that we've seen so far between Destin's video, this video, and Lejeune's video, the gameplay looks fast-paced, smooth, and fun.
Pretty damn fun. Boomer can even unlock a boomerang that, when you use it on an enemy, they slow down in midair, allowing you plenty of time to unload your shotgun rounds into them for a quick kill. His ultimate move is also super fun, literally ping-ponging around with the Speed Force, attacking tons of enemies on screen at once. And some of the gameplay that you're actually going to be seeing on screen does indeed have the damage numbers, but I found out that you can, through the options menu, turn off damage numbers. You can even turn off the health bars if you'd like to, if you don't want to see any of that information on screen. Health bars are fine for me. I don't mind.
What did he say there? You can,
if you'd like to. You can, through the options menu, turn off damage numbers. You can even turn off the health bars if you'd like to.
Okay, so if you want to be more immersed, you don't want to see the Borderland-esque numbers flying around, then you can turn all that off. That's good.
If you don't want to see any of that information on screen. Health bars are fine for me. I don't mind keeping that on. It's good to have the information of how many shots I might...
The option, the reason that the option's there, I like. You know what I mean? Like, I've said this before with other games. I want first person, third person, give me the option, left shoulder, right shoulder. I think that should be mandatory in most games that are shooters, right? I like the fact that you can shut off the numbers, turn on the numbers, the HUD, or whatever else, and give more immersed or less immersed, right? That should be in the players, and I appreciate that they put that in the game.
need to take down this enemy, but seeing the damage numbers was always too much for me. I didn't really care for it. So I'm glad that there's an option to turn that off, and I know that's going to make some people happy. Through your skill trees, you can also unlock a traditional takedown mechanic where you hit 2 buttons to do a takedown when it's available, and it has a bit of Suicide Squad flair to it. And really, when you get deep into the customization and upgrading your character's abilities, stringing it all together can be quite addicting. I, in general, get the feeling that this game took a lot of inspiration from something like Borderlands. I know a lot of people, because it's a live service game, like to think and compare this to Destiny, but I don't think it's anything like Destiny. The 4-player co-op, the tone of the game, everything just for me feels very Borderlands more so.
Now, I want to know this, because he said the same thing now. And see, this is what happens when you got flown out somewhere. It's almost like it's a script, okay? And I'm not saying they're doing a script, but it does sound like they were told that we're looking to, make sure that this is not a Destiny game, right? This is more of a, like, Borderlands-esque game, right? Even though it feels, right? It feels like that, at least for me, okay? Maybe not, but I said it felt like Borderlands before we played it, okay? And now multiple people are saying, and maybe they just feel the same way, but it does feel a little coached.
Than it does something like Destiny. And then when it came to my limited time playing as King Shark, I was just a brute, meleeing as many enemies as I can to pop them up for easy kills, then building up my super so I can launch myself into the air with his super jump, and then charge up a massive ground pound, clearing the area. I do wish, though, that he was just a full-on melee-based character, not relying on guns at all, because, you know, he's like a freaking demigod and definitely doesn't need a shotgun. I think it also really would have complemented the
right? Like the script, part of the thing they assign, you got to put youtube.com, you got to put the layover on there so people know what footage you're using and stuff. Like when other people, like myself, is using the footage right now, so you know it's from them, even though we have the description down below.
RPG element of this.
You got to put the travel early access provided by WB
game really well. You know, the fact that there is a character that doesn't have any guns, that is just a melee-focused character.
Correct, Jones. Not a script. Definitely hit these bullet points. 100%. They didn't write a script for them. They're like, when you make your video, make sure you talk about the gameplay, how fun it is, that it's like Borderlands. Let's hit on that it's not like Destiny because we don't want to be compared to Destiny. Let's hit on, right? It's definitely bullet points.
And maybe could have had a sprinkle of free-flow combat in there. I do appreciate, though, that I can get as close to that playstyle as possible, even though I have to use the guns at some point. And while we're on the topic of gameplay, traversal is also just fantastic.
Right. Traversal's a thing. That's a bullet point, right? Traversal's a bullet point. The story was a bullet point. Do you see what I'm saying? And again, this is me not criticizing the content creators of it. This is just what the beast of marketing is.
At least for the 2 characters that I played. Captain Boomerang utilizes the Speed Force, and his traversal requires a bit of finesse to really get it right. Essentially, the way you'll find it works best is when you toss your boomerang at a ground surface.
His traversal looks pretty good too, right? Now, I think, see, I can't say because I signed, but the traversal seems, based on the stuff I've been watching, seems pretty fun.
Then use your Speed Force run to get moving quick. Then when you have the air dashing, a double jump, running up walls, you can get around Metropolis effectively and with such style. It really makes me hope that Rocksteady will make a Flash game one day, please. Plus, if I remember correctly, in the skill tree, you can upgrade your Speed Force run so that it goes for 200% longer, and that means that you can hit the ground running and be running across the city for quite a bit of time before you slow down. So you toss your boomerang at a ground surface, start running, you can jump into the air dash, hit the wall with the boomerang, run up the wall, and just chain everything together beautifully, and it makes for some really fun and engaging traversal. I like that there's a learning curve here with the traversal.
You know why Caboose gets so much crap? I know why. Because he's upbeat, right? The way he delivers stuff, okay? He's hyped. He's excited. And the way he delivers it, people are like, no one can be that happy. I think that's why he gets a lot of shit, right? I've watched his stuff for Gotham and all the rest of the superhero games in the past. Because he's a shill. I mean, but do you understand, Rose? It's because it's the way he delivers stuff. Before he even got flown out to things, he's just very upbeat.
I appreciate that you have to dedicate some time to see how it works best. With the 2 characters that I got to play, there was just this, oh, I
exactly, water, right? Hey, he's got like 600,000 subscribers or some shit like that, so apparently people do like watching him.
get it now moment. I imagine that the same applies to both Deadshot and Harley Quinn, even though I didn't get to play as them. But okay, we've talked about the things that I like, but I do have some issues that I wanted to get into. First, and most importantly, is that sometimes this game can be quite a bit of a sensory overload. We played the mission that you might remember from the PlayStation State of Play last year, where you have to take down this giant military weapon that's been infected by Brainiac. And during this mission, you need to collect these items, dunk them into the weak points.
That sounds like what you just described. It sounds like one of the missions in Destiny. You got to slam dunk it,
which inevitably opens up the weak points, allowing you to shoot them and work towards destroying the gun. All the meanwhile, they are throwing waves upon waves of enemies your way, causing there to be way too much happening on screen at once and causing me to lose track of what I even needed to do. I was just running around and killing a bunch of enemies until I was guided back on track, and something to that effect happened a couple of times while we were playing. I just lose track of my objectives, and although it can be fun when you have enemies you need to counter shot and enemies that you're trying to shield harvest and you're stringing all your really fun shooting mechanics and traversal.
Yeah, there's Gambit, there's the other one. There was another, like, in the open world mission area, Cybersword, where you would dunk the ball as well. It wasn't in Gambit. I forget what it was, though.
Mechanics together when there are just an insane amount of enemies on screen. It's way too much for me to keep track of. I think that while technically speaking for the gameplay, it's kind of impressive that there's that much stuff on my screen without much hitching or without any frame drops. We can tone it down just a bit. I wonder if this has something to do with maybe changing the difficulty, but I also wouldn't want to lower the difficulty and then have it just be too easy. And I definitely don't want to know what it looks like when you're playing on the hardest difficulty. The other major issue that I have, but it comes with a bit of a caveat, is the fact that the city is almost literally dead. I know this has been an issue.
This is always going to be an issue, right? In the original Batman, people were pissed that you couldn't go out into Arkham, and you were only in Arkham, right? Like you couldn't go out into Gotham City, right? And then in the game, it was like it was dead. Not a lot of people around to do anything. Then in Gotham Knights, people were afraid that it was going to be dead and uneventful. People in Spider-Man, they see people walking around, but it's the same type of missions over and over, so it's just there for fluff or whatnot. Division, same thing. Big, wide open city, but there's nothing going on in the city, right? You see a couple people walking here and there, but they always have a story plot why it's like that, right? Same thing with this, right? Brainiac came in, turned all the people bad, made them into their minions, so the people walking around that you're killing and fighting are basically the humans that have been turned into Brainiac's minions. So Brainiac turned them and you're murdering them, basically. So it's bleak, but that's what it is.
In the past Arkham games, but at least for some of those games it made sense, or at the very least they rode away with the city being evacuated. Here, from what I can tell, it sounds like the brainwashed Justice League, alongside Brainiac's forces, have pretty much wiped out everyone in Metropolis, or just turned into one of the Brainiac minions. It's kind of bleak, and I'm hoping
it is bleak.
For, well, a bit of hope in this game's story. From a gameplay standpoint, it makes what is otherwise a beautifully designed, almost...
Yeah, but what would you do? Right? Because let's go down that rabbit hole, right? Okay, let's say the city that's being taken over by an alien race, okay, is now people walking around. What do you want them to do? You want it to be like Grand Theft Auto, where they're going shopping and doing different things? Like, most people would cower in and go inside and stay hidden because they don't want to die, right? So, and yes, sure, there'll be people out and about in the city, but they're being taken by the aliens or being converted, okay? I mean, what would you like to do? Because then if they fill the city up with people, then people would complain that the stuttering or the frame drops would happen, and they're I wish they would get rid of more of the people. There's too many people on the streets. Like, what would you like them to do?
Perfectly realized Metropolis feel quite empty. And this is where that caveat comes in, because I know why this is. And it's almost certainly to help with the game's performance.
Of course it is. You got this wide open map, and if you put 1,000, 10,000 NPCs or just walking around the city, you're not going to have any bad guys to fight.
It's actually kind of insane that in a massive open world game with 4-player co-op, I was zipping through the city relatively quickly alongside my group without a hitch. I personally didn't experience a single frame drop or quality dip, which is kind of crazy. I feel if there's one thing that we can all acknowledge is that this is definitely a game worthy of being exclusive to the current generation of consoles and is definitely taking advantage of their power. I just wish we could have found some sort of middle ground. Maybe less enemies on the screen around the open world could have it open up an opportunity for there to be more civilians, just to instill a bit of hope and not make it seem like all is lost. Who knows though? I haven't played the full game and there could be something that I'm missing. I'm also not a game developer.
Again, you have this thing where if there's less enemies, then you would complain that I wish there was more enemies, right? Would you rather have NPCs walking around that you cannot interact with or do anything, or would you rather have bad guys on the screen to shoot? You know what I mean? Let's go on, Mando.
So I don't know how possible it would be to implement some of my ideas. I also will say as a general note that while it can be fun playing with up to 4 people, sometimes that's actually what contributed to the sensory overload thing that I was
He's saying there's a sensory overload. There's too much going on the screen.
talking about. So I think I'll be playing a majority of the story mode solo while enjoying the co-op when I'm just free roaming around.
I think I might do the same because when I play through story, I hate people that go around hitting buttons and skipping scenes. So I might play the story mission. I might play the main game by myself, solo, with just NPCs. And then by the end, once we get into the end game and start leveling up characters and grinding for gear, then we'll play with people.
Or maybe doing some side activities. Speaking of which, we also got to try out some of those side activities and explore some of the RPG elements of the game. One side mission involved us using...
Sarge says the important question: can you run to the border of the map, ruining your immersion? Tell me now. Yeah, that's basically what's going to happen, Sarge.
These vehicles that Gizmo provides you with that are actually on a timer to explode. I think these were a little random and didn't really pull me in like the gameplay from the actual squad does. The RPG elements are, I mean, fine, but I don't know. I just wanted to jump in and shoot.
Exactly, Horseman. Horseman in chat just said it. He says, you're not heroes. It's not like you're going to save people. You do save people on certain missions like these things, but you're absolutely right. Like, the whole premise of the game is you are bad guys that were in prison. And the only hope for humanity now is that they had to get you out of prison, okay, so you could help save the world. And the people that are saving the world didn't give a shit about the world, right? That's a good premise. That's a good premise.
Shoot things. I feel like I need the full game to really judge this because that is an element to any game when it comes to an RPG that you really need to sink your teeth into. Like, there's some vendors that you go to and side characters that you interact with that help you upgrade some of the things that you can do. We got this cool freeze ability on all our melee attacks. Specifically for Captain Boomerang, it was cool because I would freeze a group of enemies and then you can just shoot them and watch them break like glass. So yeah, you can do some flashy stuff and it's kind of cool, some of the upgrades that you can get, but I'm just not super into this. And I don't know, I am getting a little bored of seeing 10 different currencies and having them all do different things. The last major portion of our gameplay actually involved us trying out the Flash boss fight, which is definitely affects.
Now, he says about the Flash as well. Interesting. All right, hold on.
Of our gameplay actually involved us trying out the Flash boss fight, which is definitely effects heavy, but also kind of fun and engaging for me. Considering you're fighting the Flash,
okay,
they really made it feel like you needed to be quick on your toes. Landing your counter shots critical, and you pretty much have to be moving the entire time, creating for a fun but sometimes overly frantic pace to the fight. Again, that sensory overload thing, which has been occurring.
Why? I mean, I guess that's a subjective thing, sensory overload. Right? I guess that would be a subjective thing.
Theme and something that I've had a problem with throughout my entire time playing. I feel like if they toned it down.
You know what I'm thinking right now? I already thought about it. Can you get hit on top of the number 3 there in the middle?
Would be in a really
or 5, whatever the hell it is. Right? Like Flash goes on all the tops of the buildings when you're fighting. But can I jump on top of that 5 and just stand there and shoot him? That's the first thing that just popped in my head. I was like, well, how can I get to higher ground where he doesn't run to?
Really good spot gameplay wise. Story wise, I am very interested to see where this goes. Some of the writing here is top notch. There are some laugh out loud moments where my entire group was cracking up.
Hello, swag.
Oh, they're showing the same writing. This is yet another bullet point. The writing is fun. My whole group was cracking up.
Yet again, your feeble upper body strength betrays you, Boomerang.
Shark, hold up. It's a... Holly, get us out of this! Harley, do not touch us.
But you saying I can't really makes me want to, you know?
Harley, no!
Worth it.
And there were a couple of other moments that genuinely gave me chills.
Okay, Boomerang. You want to see what a real hero can do? I'll show you.
This is from the original trailer they showed.
Flash, how do I stop this? Please, tell me how.
You have to kill us, Diana.
I'm excited to see what you do against Batman or Green Lantern or Superman. Like, what are those boss fights? That's what I'm excited about.
We have to die to save the world.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Rocksteady has in store for us here with the story in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. But man, I really hope that we don't kill the Justice League, actually. If we do, whatever.
Why? Why is everyone like, I don't want to kill the Justice League? What do you think's going to happen? They kill him, and let's say, well, oh no, they can never make video games again. The character in this game died. We can never, ever make another... Like, what are we talking about? Video game.
Whatever ends up happening, I don't know. I hope that it's reversed either by the end of the game or through some post-launch content. I just want to see my heroes back in action. I want to see the first ever time Rocksteady's Justice League has been on screen, have them end up working together to take down Brainiac. And man, even though he's so mean, there are a couple of things in there from Kevin Conroy's Batman performance that are just...
I wanted to be a bad guy in the game, but I don't want to kill the good guy.
Just
Gaming
so
2024.
Good. It really makes me sad that we lost Kevin Conroy, and he'll forever be...
Yeah, once that's it, Eric. Once they die in this game, comic books and everything else can never get made. Be like, whatever happened to the Batman comics? Oh, you didn't hear? In a video game, they killed Batman. That's it. Batman is done.
Be my Batman.
Mog.
I was born Bruce Wayne, citizen of Gotham. At too young an age, I lost my parents to the city's greatest enemy, crime. From that day forward, I swore I would dedicate my life to defeating those who would prey on the heart and the spirit of Gotham. So I became a symbol.
King Shark becomes Batman.
Evil would fear. I became vengeance.
You would never know who it is.
The night.
Be like,
I became Batman.
you look familiar. You Batman?
Of course,
oh,
I'd
you're
have
not.
to rely on more than just my wits. I'd have to work hard, train every day to fight against crime. I'd have to design high-tech tools, equipment, and the most advanced vehicles you've ever seen.
When did Wonder Woman become Suicide Squad member? Did I miss something? No. Why is she a Suicide Squad member? There was literally a trailer where she's working on her own to save her friends from the Justice League. Where does it say that she's part of the Suicide Squad?
Before I had allies, but I thought I had to push them away to protect them. Now, as part of the Justice League, I'm grateful for my companions. Because together, we are stronger.
They're racist against Aquaman. They're fishists. Where the hell's Aquaman? He's part of the Justice League.
Than we are alone.
The whole city's surrounded by water.
Overall, there are things that I'm looking forward to with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and there are some problems that I have with this game as well. We've got just a couple of weeks until it is out, until this long 8+ year wait for Rocksteady's next game is over. There's a ton of skepticism, I get it, but we're gonna have to wait and see how it all turns out on January 3rd.
No, Wonder Woman's just not corrupt in the trailers. She's not corrupt by Brainiac. She's trying to save her friends, Quintar.
30th for the deluxe edition owners, and then February 2nd for everybody else. Once again, I need to give a big thank you to WB Games for providing me travel and accommodations for this trip to get early access with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And there you have it, my hands-on thoughts with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I clearly didn't love every single...
Of course, El Dente. Why didn't I think of that? Aquaman comes in, he beats it because water damages electricity. There you go. There you go.
Single aspect, although I imagine some people online are still only going to hear that I liked some things. And
see, how many times does Caboose have to mention what he mentions, right? No matter what happens, he's always going to be considered a shill because of the way he does it.
Think that I loved it all. What can you do? Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to change some people's minds in what they think about me or this game, and that's totally fine. What you'll never see me do, though, is attack any of the people who are working on this game. I know they work tirelessly. I know that they work incredibly hard, and I applaud them for their work.
How many times will he get undue hate? It happens all the time to him. He's been doing it. He's not new to this. Not new to this. He's literally got, what has he got? He's got 674,000 subscribers. I think he's been doing this for like a decade. He's not new to this.
Regardless of whether or not some of the things in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League just didn't land for me, I'm not going to go attacking developers for it. I'm normal. But with that being said, let me now kick it to you guys. Sound off with your thoughts in the comments section below. Based on all this new gameplay, based on my thoughts here, how do you feel about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? Are you looking forward to getting your hands on the game come January 30th for the deluxe edition or February 2nd for everybody? Or are you still on the fence / not looking forward to it entirely? Try to keep it civil. Let's try to have a normal conversation.
All right. So go check out Caboose's video. Give it a like. We got one more video for Suicide Squad. We're going to watch Jay Shockblast's video, another content creator that was in the Marvel's Avengers circle as well, who also does a lot of he does a lot of video games, but he does a lot of Marvel, DC coverage or whatnot. So we're going to watch his video. Came out at 10 o'clock. I'm going to lower this a little bit because his is a little louder. Oh, is this the premiere?
Invited to a special creator event in Burbank, California, where I got to play Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League with a couple other creator friends and some of the folks from Rocksteady. And I want to start off by saying thank you to WB Games.
Okay, you're welcome.
Out there, this video in the gameplay, you will notice that I am playing with 3 other people. The other people are Caboose, who is playing as Captain Boomerang, and Uncaged Games, who is playing as King Shark. Definitely make sure you check both of them out on their YouTube channels. They will also have coverage of the game starting today, I believe. Also, we were joined by a member of Rocksteady, and I am actually kind of embarrassed. I think his name was Jamie. Lots of tattoos. Super awesome dude. Very helpful. Loved playing with him. Thank you for giving us just a great experience. Now, it's very important to me to start off by saying this is my honest opinion. I'm not influenced by the fact that I was flown out there. Or
Bullet point number 1.
I do know that there are some people that are going to be skeptical of that, but I want to make sure I address that from the get-go, okay? If you do feel some kind of way that I am influenced by it, I can't do anything about that. But I promise you, for almost 14 years on YouTube, I've always been a straight shooter. You can look at my track record. I played a lot of games for a long time that some people didn't like, and I can't help but feel the way that I do. And the way that I feel is this game is what it is, and I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. And enjoy it I did.
I'll tell you what I wouldn't do if I ever got invited to these things and I accepted. I wouldn't waste any time trying to change people's perspective if they think I'm a shill or not a shill. I wouldn't care. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't. I mean, if I did care, I wouldn't say it out loud. I would just move on with my life.
Now, I've said many times on podcasts like the After Show with Sadat the Gamer that if I had a choice of what this video game would be, obviously, I would rather play as the Justice League like just about everybody else. But that's not what we're doing here, and it's not suddenly going to become another Batman game. All right, it just isn't. So I feel like if you could just get over that hump and judge the game for what it is, I think you're probably going to be very pleasantly surprised. It is a very well put together video game, as you would imagine.
You see the difference? Here's the difference, right? Destin didn't mention anything about it. Lejeune was his first time ever going to one, and he said that, you know, his thoughts were his own, but he didn't take a 2-3 minute long thing like Jay Shockblast and Caboose do, because Caboose and Jay Shock have been doing this for such a long time, and no matter what happens, they're going to be labeled that. Lejeune just got his first opportunity, and he didn't take any time to go, well, you guys are going to think I'm a shill or anyway. Nothing. He just told you what he liked about the game.
Rocksteady has a tremendous track record with their Arkham series, and I think that's, you know, probably the biggest reason why so many people are disappointed that this is not Batman Arkham 4.
Which is stupid, because I don't know why you would be upset about a game that they didn't make, right? Oh, man, this game's going to suck because it's not Batman Arkham. It's like, okay, well, then just don't buy the game. I know it's a hard concept to grasp. If you don't like something, you don't buy it.
Or 5 or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? And I get that. Okay, I really do. I understand it's also compounded by the fact that this is Kevin Conroy's last appearance as Batman. Again, I get that. I also get the vibe that Batman is going to be a really cool part of this game for other reasons. And I think that's what I'm so excited about with this game.
Yeah, I'm going on that top of that 5.
It is something different. I never would have chosen a Suicide Squad game, but if you look at what things, the way they've put this game together and the plans they have for it post-launch, I really feel like this has an opportunity to be everything that Marvel...
You know what they'll probably do? You probably can't land on the 5. It'll probably like push you off on like a visible wall.
Marvel's Avengers wanted to be but couldn't, okay? Because the biggest problem with Marvel's Avengers, a game that I put thousands of hours into and streamed for over 1,000 days, the biggest problem with it was that they could not keep up with the content. I feel like, yeah, there were some issues with the gameplay and whatever.
Well, no, Jones, there's a difference between when the publisher tells you if you don't like it, don't buy it. And there's a difference if you're bitching about something and you're like, I wanted them to make this game and they didn't make that game, and you're like frustrated with it. If you don't like it, don't buy it.
But like,
that's called context.
I feel like once they got over that hump, the issue was putting out new content. And I don't think that's something that Rocksteady is going to have some trouble with. I'm under the impression, and we'll probably get the third insider focusing on the post-launch stuff next week, very soon, because the game's coming 20-something days from now. I get the feeling that they're going to lay out a really cool and aggressive plan. And
you haven't said anything yet, Jay.
And without saying things I'm not at liberty to discuss, some of the things I have heard are pretty cool, and they're going to address a lot of the issues that I think people have.
Oh, is it still live right
with
now?
The microtransaction portion of the game, but none of that is something I'm officially allowed to really get into. So we're gonna just kind of tip our toes in the water on that, and then progress. All right. Now I want to point out in the background, I've probably got some video playing and everything, and the cuts are going to be a little different. We had some obligations on the way that we were allowed to present the material, so I'm trying my best to put together, little clips that fit into the parameters of what we were allowed to do. What I'm talking about might not always match up in the background, and for that I apologize, but there's a lot of really great stuff going on with the game. We got to play a lot of early stuff, stuff that you probably played in the alpha if you got to play the alpha. We also played the section where we see Poison Ivy for the first time, which was certainly very interesting. And the reaction to her has also been interesting. And trust me, when we were in the moment, I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's kind of got that Baby Groot vibe, you know, where he restarts as a little sapling and grows up. I think it's an interesting take. I don't particularly love.
Maybe she does grow up throughout the thing. Maybe she has accelerated growth. Who knows?
The presentation per se, but it makes sense to me, and I think that's all that matters. I played as Deadshot. All right,
there's no gameplay of Harley. I'm gonna have to after stream today. I'm gonna scrub to see if anyone played as Harley. It doesn't seem anyone played as Harley.
Like Deadshot.
That's concerning.
For my time in the alpha, I enjoyed Deadshot the most, and I think that's probably going to be my main character as I progress. Sorry, having a dog means that he's just gonna be here and making noise because I'm talking, and I'm doing this all straight shot. All right. Now, here's the thing. I think a lot of what I got to play was fun, and the biggest part for me.
I do like Jay because he's very like just calm, and he just tells you what he tells you, right?
Though
that's his content.
That it is a game that is not gonna just come to you. It has.
There are YouTubers who played as Harley. Okay.
The traversal is certainly interesting. Each character has different traversal that will improve with different gear and skills over time. But once you get over that learning curve, I think it's really cool, and especially with King Shark. I look at King Shark, and I think he's what the Hulk was supposed to feel like all along. The open world is fantastic. There's a lot of really cool things.
Damn Falcon on YouTube.
Nice to be in Metropolis instead of Gotham yet again. When you think about all the open world DC games outside of DC Universe Online, it's been Gotham, right? Like we've been mostly exploring Gotham. This feels like a much more fun world. There's lots of cool, little Easter eggs and scenery to experience. We didn't get to go too far, so I didn't even really get a full scale of how big the city was, but it did feel very big. And
he's doing it. This was a premiere, and he's doing it. I don't know if he was doing it live, but he's doing it recording. When he recorded it, it doesn't look like there's cuts. It looks like it's just straight shot. So he probably doesn't have like a script. He's probably just looking at like bullet points and then just speaking. Basically, what I do a show every morning. I have nothing in front of me, right? It's all just free form.
It did feel a little alive. I don't know how it's going to change over time because obviously we're early in the game, and the Justice League is in the middle of being corrupted, and not all the aliens are out to fight, but there are definitely lots of things to do throughout the world that I got to see. We obviously took over the Hall of Justice and got to walk around and explore the Hall of Justice. It's a really cool experience to kind of see the way they kind of put some of the lore into the game by doing these fun little interactive things. If you did play the alpha,
the boss fight seems
got to
fun.
Play that little Batman level.
This is the most we got to see of it.
You through the museum, and that was a really cool vibe. And it also kind of got you up to.
He does go on the ground. Okay.
With everything that's happened in the Arkhamverse, because this is in the Arkhamverse.
He does a little tell. You can see the little tell he does before he shoots the lightning with direction.
Very evident through all of that. A lot of what we got to see was a little bit of John Stewart Green Lantern, tracking people down. Obviously, we got to interact with the Flash a little bit, both uncorrupted and corrupted. Obviously, Diana, Wonder Woman herself, shows up, and there's Amanda Waller, who has
this shot that he's showing us now we haven't seen before.
Very hateable. Like, we hate Waller, man. She's a jerk, all right? And she's really trapped them and left these...
Shh, Jay, don't say that Amanda Waller is bad. Destin doesn't like that.
Miscreants with no choice but to follow her rules and do what she says. I think I really... There's so much to take in the whole process. I got to play the game for roughly 4 or 5 hours. and it was really cool. There's a lot going on. Obviously one of the criticisms of the game is it's a looter shooter, and I get that. I mean, people are tired of looter shooters in some regards.
If people were tired of looter shooters, they would stop playing looter shooters. But they don't. Because they like them.
But also looter shooters are some of the most popular games running right now. And you have to understand that this is something that was planned years ago. So once you get the ball rolling and at a certain point, you're kind of committed to it. And I think it works really well here. And I think one of the things people are not noticing is that a lot of the things that make a character like Captain Boomerang, like hello, his boomerang, they're still there. He still has boomerang attacks. It basically works as a melee attack. Deadshot has his little gauntlets, if you will, that shoot things, and Harley's got her baseball bat, and Shark is just gonna shark. You know what I mean? They've got really cool melee attacks, and you're not gonna just feel like you're always using a gun. I mean, theoretically, you could just melee attack your way through everything. It's one of the ways you get back shield anyway. Again, learning curve. Definitely some things you're gonna have to learn as you play through it. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Kill the Justice League. People seem to be surprised.
I'm glad he's saying it, right? People are surprised that you kill the Justice League. They're like, I hope you don't have to kill anybody in this game. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you don't. But don't get shocked if you do. It's in the title.
That is what you are tasked with doing. And while I did get to do a boss battle with the Flash, I can't really discuss too much. They did give us some B-roll footage that I'm hopefully playing right now, showing that encounter with the Flash. And I did at the end get the kill shot on the Flash after, if we're being honest, Caboose put me in his backpack and just dominated the whole thing. But we didn't get to see the cutscene that happens once you actually win that fight.
I think you're telling a little too much right now.
So I don't know really how far into killing the Justice League we actually go, but through the dialogue, you will notice that it feels like whatever.
Well, here's a good part. I'm so glad it's a third-person game, so when you do pay for your microtransactions or earn your microtransaction, your skins, you actually get to see them. Because I hate games that are first-person shooters, and you're like, oh, man, I got this really cool skin, and you can never see it unless you're in the menu system.
Whatever is happening to them is irreversible. So, newsflash, the name is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Yes, there is a possibility that you are going to literally kill the Justice League. Not my choice, not what I would have chosen, but it's what we have. And I did find it very enjoyable. The guns are really well made. I obviously used Deadshot, so I used a lot of sniper rifles. He also had LMGs. There was a point where we went into that Flash encounter where they prepped us. The whole playing experience was curated. There was obviously saves that they had specifically for this experience, and their builds.
Suicide Squad loves the Justice League.
Knowing or understanding quite yet is you can actually make builds for your characters. You can get specific types of guns that do certain damage types. Poison Ivy becomes a vendor along with
the fact that what I like about this game, and again, I'm not even going to play this game because of the looter stuff, the live service aspect. I'm playing for the story mainly, okay? But if I want to make a Deadshot and use like LexCorp guns, or if I want to use Deadshot and use, I don't know, Poison Ivy equipment or whatever it is, or Bane, or Bizarro, whatever, that's what's cool to me. That one character can be changed to multiple different classes. And again, this is not the first game to do this, but this is why I think it's interesting what they're doing. And people don't like it because there's guns in the game, and I get that. But it's a game they created, and there's story behind why they're using the guns against the people they are.
The Penguin.
It's so they can hug the Justice League.
And I want to say the Tinkerer. They all have different things, and Poison Ivy, what she does is she offers afflictions, which basically can help you do ice damage or poison damage or fire damage or things of that nature, and you can
There's always going to be a meta, by the way, right? Like, people like Lejeune are going to find things and go, oh, if you're King Shark, you don't want to use ice. This is the best thing to use. You want to use the poison with this gun, with these grenades, and this is what you're going to do. And everyone's going to be like, oh, that's what I'm going to go for. Because there's always going to be a meta. What's the best?
reset them by going to her and paying her in cookies and toys. I made that up, but anyway, and Penguin does his thing. There are definitely different grades of weapons that you can acquire throughout. It is a looter shooter after all. What I will say that is very interesting is the weapons. There's no like level. So like when you find a weapon, that's the weapon. All right. And it's just going to work with you, you know? So you're not constantly looking for a level, oh, I got the level 4 version, let me get the level 7, let me get the level 8 version. You have the confidence of knowing if in chapter 3 you get this sick, like, I forget what they call it, like this purple level, the best level of rarity, black mask gun, sniper rifle,
How about the Notorious now?
That it's not going to be, you know, you're not going to have to throw it away after you level up a couple more times. So it's not going to become obsolete.
Oh, I see what he's saying. So if you happen to find the weapon at a lower level, you can continuously take that weapon and level it up. But now I wonder if you find that weapon early on, if I find it again, it could be more powerful. Instead of investing whatever resources or whatever to level it up, now I can find it again later. I'm assuming that's the way it works, but that's interesting that you can get it at a lower level.
You know, you've got the option to, you know, constantly keep it in your arsenal throughout the game. So that's great. I think that's a very cool feature that kind of keeps you able to have the best guns for you. There's different weapon mods and different things that can improve.
Yeah, but why would I want... Okay, hold on a second. If I find it like level 10... Can different perks roll on that gun, or is that gun is it's set with that affliction or whatnot on there? If I find that gun at level 10 and I find it again at level 30, is a level 30 going to be better than the level 10? Like, what's the benefits of me? I guess I could run it up to a certain point. See, this is what I want to know more of.
Improve your traversal. You know, obviously with Deadshot, he's got the jetpack, so he runs out of fuel over time, and you can basically curate your experience to get him to travel further and more and reboot and refuel faster and all those types of things. So it's a great thinker's game, and I think that's something a lot of people enjoy, and it's something I'm looking forward to some of my favorite creator friends theory crafting and putting together some cool videos on how to do things and do them better. So the voice acting is stellar.
Yeah, but Salty, what would be the... Do you know that for a fact for this particular game? Or are you saying that based off other games? What I'm saying is, because he says that once you get the gun, it's not going to be obsolete, meaning you can keep using the gun, meaning you can upgrade it. So why would I upgrade the level 10 to level 2 up to level 30, or just get the gun at a higher level? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I hope it's not one weapon to rule them all. I hope it's situational, where you have this gun and then you're going up against this person, and then you switch the different weapon, the afflictions and stuff, and not just use one weapon with different inflictions that you just swap out on that one weapon. Because if you find that one weapon, then all other weapons become obsolete, especially if you find a weapon that's OP, and then you can just level that up.
There's lots of little jokes and fun interactions between the characters. One of the things that kept happening to me is I'm like a squirrel or like a dog that sees a squirrel. Like, I would be flying around and trying to keep up with everybody, and I would see something little and I'd go over and look at it.
Sadat said that they just drop at your level all the time. So then no weapons are really... It's just junk it all the time. I don't I don't know if I like that.
And
I mean, it is
all
what
of
it
a
is, but
sudden
I don't know if I
realize
like
they're
that.
starting the quest, and you have 30 seconds to get there.
I've always done this with Destiny, right? If I bring a gun and I find a gun and I respect my time, If I want to take a gun and I want to master class that weapon and upgrade that gear and constantly keep upgrading that gear because that's the gun I like, instead of finding the other role, like Division does it correctly. If I find a gun lower level, I can level that gun up and take that gun with me, or I could be lucky enough to find another weapon, right? I hope it's not that all the time, because that would suck. It basically, you're not going to give a shit about anything. You're just going to play through the game and go, I don't care about the weapon. As soon as the next weapon comes, bigger, greener number, great, I'll take that one because this gun is obsolete now.
And poof, I would never get there in time, and my head would explode, and then it would, pull me forward. Now,
as a player, I should have a choice of take this gun, level this gun up. I like this gun. This gun's mine. There's many like it, but this one is mine. Okay, and I can level that gun up as I go up, and I can customize that weapon and put certain points or certain things, certain mods, certain whatever, instead of going, I'm just going to find another one on the next mission.
One of the things that a lot of people need to understand is this game can be played with friends in co-op, or you can play it completely single player. One thing that they've already announced through their Discord is that one of the things that a lot of people were upset about was the fact that it's supposed to be always online, and at some
but that's not a live service game. See?
Some point after launch, that will be going away, so you don't have to worry about logging into the server. You don't have to always be online. All right, like you don't have to worry about the game, shutting down however long down the road and not being able to play it. That'll be an option that's there. But I will say, playing with friends is pretty cool. And obviously, you can play with up to 4 friends, and everybody can be a different character if they want to. Obviously, it's fun to have each of the characters for interaction purposes, and I think I'm gonna play as everybody at some point. The skill tree is pretty interesting. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I had a lot of time to go through all the skill tree. I did add skills as I leveled up, but I kind of just picked whatever I could real quick, so I'm probably not qualified to really go through it all that much, but I'm very much looking forward to what comes next. Obviously, if you get the deluxe edition, the game comes out on January 30th, and if you get the regular version, it will be coming out on February 2nd. So you do get 3 days of early access for getting the deluxe edition. The deluxe edition does come with a battle pass token, so you will get whichever battle pass you choose to redeem. Lots more details coming on about that in the future. Obviously, there will be microtransactions to the game, and there will be new characters added to the game over time. I don't know the frequency, but
no, I stopped playing way before that.
So you don't necessarily have to buy the new characters or the new content, but there will be skins and all that. We didn't see any of that. I only had access for each character. Only had 2 different skins available. Their standard one that you've seen through all the promotional material, and then there was one that was kind of like a greenish camouflage style outfit. You can take the mask on and off for Deathstroke, or I'm sorry, Deadshot. So in some of
did he just say Deathstroke? Confirmed.
the video, you probably saw him, with his mask on and off. I prefer it on personally, but I just was trying to vary it up a little bit. There's a good chance I may just have a little bit of extra video running after I'm done talking about all of this. I'm trying to think that I think it's going to be a fun game, and if you enjoy looter shooters, I think you're going to enjoy this game. I mean, is it going to be a perfect game? No, I don't think so. I think it'll be a lot of fun, though. I think the worst I think it's going to be is a 7 out of 10. The worst. I think that's the floor. All right. I think it has the potential to.
Watch out, Jay. 7 out of 10 is trash in the sphere of internet gaming.
Go even higher than that. And I'm going to sink so many hours into this game. Like, I played a ton of Gotham Knights. I played a ton of Marvel's Midnight Suns. I played a ton of Marvel's Avengers. Obviously, if you follow the channel, you know I played all the Lego games, both DC and Marvel. I played, you know, Deadpool and all the Arkham games, and I've played them all. You know,
No, he got it
Marvel
right.
Heroes Omega.
It comes out February
huge
2nd
game for me.
and January 30th for Deluxe Edition. He said it correctly.
Is definitely
Deluxe
going to
Edition is
be
the
one of
January
the ones that I
30th.
love. I'm
And
not gonna
the
love
standard
using the
edition comes
title
out on
all the
February
time.
2nd.
It's too long. I kind of wish they thought of us YouTubers when they made that title. But it is descriptive, I'll tell you that. Yeah, man, I felt like maybe they're just tired of Batman. And this is me editorializing. I'm not telling you that they said anything, you know, specific, but one of the things that I'm kind of known for is when we went to WB Games Montreal to play Gotham Knights a little over a year ago. You know, Caboose was pitching like, "Oh, I want a Superman game," and yeah, I know all you guys want a Superman game. And I first mentioned Green Lantern, but then kind of as a joke, because as you can see right there, I love Ghost of Tsushima, and I also love the anime for Batman Ninja. So I started pitching to literally anybody that would listen to me Batman Ninja, feudal Japan, in the style of the anime, open world, you know, because I think that'd be kind of a cool game. The joke took on a life of its own because literally I pitched it to every single person that would listen to me that day. And since then, I've pitched it to everybody anytime I've seen Caboose or Uncaged, even on Twitter. People don't understand the joke, but we do. I even pitched it to Ed Boon in person in Chicago, very lightly, but mostly as the joke. But I wasn't going to do it this time, and I did out of peer pressure. And I felt like I'd kicked someone's dog. Like the Stonewall faces that looked back at me when I mentioned Batman and game just led me to believe that they're ready for something else. And again, I've said this before many times. Would I have chose the something else to be Suicide Squad?
I'm assuming that Rocksteady doesn't want to just be pigeonholed Batman. I guess.
No. I would have chosen Justice League. I would have probably chosen Green Lantern over Superman personally, but just because I think you can do more with it. But like there's a lot of other characters I would have chosen, a lot of other groups I would have chosen, but that doesn't change the fact that that's where we are now. We have a Suicide Squad game where you kill the Justice League. Hell, I wouldn't have even done Brainiac. We did that in Injustice, and we did that in Lego Batman 3. Like, the Brainiac story arc has been just overdone. Not the choices I would have made, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to enjoy this game for what it is. And I think that's the thing that everybody needs to get over. You're not obligated to play every superhero game. I think with Marvel's Midnight Suns, we saw a lot of people, oh, but it's a card game. I don't want to play a card game. And then once they played it, they realized, oh, it's really just a turn-based strategy game with cards that are your attacks. And holy cow, I really like it, you know? And not everybody, but like I feel like that was a general consensus.
Sounds a little bit better now.
For people that, holy cow, this game is cool because it's different. And I'm not saying you have to jump in.
Wintar, my brother-in-law, he bought it for me. We had third Christmas because my family was in South Florida, and my wife's half of her family's down in South Florida. So we had Christmas 1 and 2, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then her father flew back in, and we had third Christmas on Sunday. And my brother-in-law bought me Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, the pre-order edition deluxe. So I didn't pre-order, but I pre-ordered.
Day one for $70. Maybe wait for it to go on sale. I don't know. I feel like if you give the game a chance, you're probably going to enjoy it. If you play Marvel's Avengers, you're going to enjoy it. Like, it is what it is, right? It's different. It feels really good and fluid from what I got to play. And I feel like even though no one was supposed to talk about the alpha, because it was a closed alpha with an NDA, I feel like I've had enough.
Very nice of him, Gamey Fire.
Conversations behind closed doors and seen people talk about how much they enjoyed it, which is really great. I feel like a lot of the Cloak and Dagger Batman stuff is actually hurting Rocksteady and WB a little bit in the promotion of this game, because I feel like once the curtain comes up and people like me and Caboose and Lejeune and Uncaged, and I think Comic Historian was there. I think I heard Dame Falcon was there. There's other creators you can look into. I know Game Informer was there. There were lots of people there. I know there was also an event in the UK, and I've seen somebody named Jarv was there. So look out for all of their content as well. Get their opinions. I promise you that I understand why people can be skeptical when creators get flown out to see things and do things. Sure, it does change you, because you
Again, I wouldn't mention any of this shit.
get to be around these devs and you realize that they're real people and they have dreams.
Of course they're real people. But just like nobody cares about what I have to do or what you do for your job, right? If I'm an author, I write books, right? And someone could be like, writing books is hard. And someone that's digging a ditch on the side of the road and go, digging a ditch is hard. Okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay? We're just customers that buy games. And that's it.
And they're not lazy. They worked really hard on this game. I could tell that like these guys were sleep deprived, and it wasn't just from having to fly to LA from the UK. You know what I mean? Like they're working hard on these games. They're trying to make them from a place of love.
I mean, I'll be honest. We read that article that says we're lucky that games even come out. They say it's a miracle that they even work
for these characters, and I feel like if you give it a chance, you're probably gonna like it. But if you're skeptical, there's no reason. Like, you're not obligated to buy every superhero game. I recently, I recently bought this game, okay, on Switch. I waited for it to go on sale because I know it's kind of a kiddie game. I don't think it's going to do a lot of traffic on the channel, but I love superhero games, and I'm probably going to give it a try, and see what we can do with it. But the reality is that there are a lot of different people that feel different ways about different things, and back when they were in the planning stages for this game, they thought it was a good idea. They went with it. This is what we have.
And that's fine. This is why I said this is the thing. This is what the artist chose to do, right? And you could get bitchy about it because you're like, I wanted a Superman game, or I wanted another Batman Arkham game. That's not the game you're looking. This is not it. So don't get mad at this game because this game is not the game you were looking for. Get mad at a game, whatever game it is, based on what the game is. If you like an RPG game, you play the RPG game, and then it's not what you thought it was, cool. But to get mad at a game because it's not the game that you expected them to make is just retarded.
And yes, money doesn't change my opinion, but I will say that, like, am I softer on some of the devs? Yeah, absolutely. And that's because I've met so many of them, and I know that they're just real people trying the best they can. That's all you can ask sometimes. I'm going to be critical of the game of things I don't agree with, of things I don't like if they come up. If you've followed any of my coverage for Mortal Kombat, you'll know that I've complained about the XP on numerous occasions on video. So, like, WB wants our opinion, and that's why they bring us out there. And that's what I feel like I've given you completely and honestly. And you can see some of the gameplay in the back. Sadat would say skill issue if I'm struggling, but I don't think I am. I think I'm hyped to play with people. This is one of the things I love doing, is playing with people. And this game has cross play. It has cross progression. It really is well thought.
That's nice. Cross play, cross progression. That's great.
Out and well structured to let everybody be together. And
I actually like what Lejeune said, right? Where if you want to play with one of my characters, let's say my character's a high level character, you're like, I'm going to bring him in to help me, and I'm not even playing. It's pretty interesting.
Just have fun shooting aliens in the face, and maybe the Justice League. You can shoot them in the face too, because I did, and it was great. That whole encounter was really cool. So I'm looking forward to playing more. I'm looking forward to playing with everybody. I'm looking forward to watching my friends' coverage. It was really awesome to get to meet Lejeune for the first time. We got to go out to dinner. Obviously, Uncaged Games and Caboose are probably sick of seeing me. I'm kidding. Maybe. But, like, yeah, man. Like, thank you, WB, for always taking care of me. I really, like, I did all this in one take, by the way. I'm so thirsty. It's very dry here. And I hope that I was able to kind of relay a little bit about the game. I can probably go deep diving on some of the different podcasts I'll be doing. Obviously, on every Friday, we do the After Show podcast with myself and Sadat the Gamer, so we'll be live then. There were limitations, again, to the way I can present some of the footage here. So keeping that in mind, I just tried to put together a lot of little clips that made sense, and hopefully you enjoyed seeing that in the background. For now, I'm going to play you my theme song, the Jay Shockblast song, with a little bit more gameplay in the background.
Okay. Go check out Jay Shockblast's channel as well. Give his thoughts. So we saw 4 different videos. 4 different takes on the video. Go give Jay Shockblast, Lejeune, Caboose, and IGN Go give some thumbs up or whatever. Comment in the section. Watch those because we watch those. They made those videos. This is their livelihood. I just make comments and stuff on their actual videos. So go over there, take a split second, go give it a thumbs up, go give it a comment, or go put it in a different tab and put it in the background to watch on your own thing. So yeah, I think the game is going to be fine. I think the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is going to be a fun game. I think it's going to get a lot of shit on. I do. Just like Marvel's Avengers, just like Anthem, just like Outriders, just like any other game that was a looter live service game. I know Outriders wasn't a live service game, but Division 2, Division 1, Destiny, any of the expansions, Warframe, any of that stuff, it's crazy, but that's what it is, right? If you don't like live service games, then this is not for you. If you don't like looter shooters, this is not for you. If you don't like third-person games, this is not for you. If you're not a DC fan, this is not for you. If you like DC, you want what this game looks fun, if it looks fun for you, pick it up. Not day one. Not week one, not month one. It'll be there. Wait, watch. We watched 4 different videos and 4 completely different takes on this thing, okay? And you might agree with them. You might disagree with them. You might agree with me. You might disagree with me, and that's okay. My whole point is look and educate yourself. If you like a game or if you're on the fence about something, do the research, watch certain people, listen to what they say, listen to the bullet points they all hit, okay? And if it aligns with you, buy it. If it doesn't align with you, don't buy it. That's it. Yesterday, we watched a Quinfall video with Asmongold commenting on Nuon, who made this video 9 months ago, and Asmongold commented on like 2 days ago. Well, Nuon made a different video, a second video on Quinfall. Yesterday's conversation, people were saying, well, maybe it'll be good. There's nothing wrong with them using re-assets. So we're going to watch yet part 2 of this video.